Let's see if I remember anything. La da 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 da. So we were doing Guy Hudson. I guess this was Susan. Don't know yet. Don't have any new evidence. If we can start to try to figure out who this is. And who the woman with the tattoo is on her arm. We don't have a picture for Patricia Jones. Can we find one? No. No. Guy Hudson. Why is Guy Hudson in this? Strange. He died. Obituaries. Portland Telegraph. No. Maybe Business Watch talks about him a little more. Still old. We got the red banner at the top. Nothing new here. Okay. Business trip. Does he look Australian? What does Australian look like? I don't know. So we have, what can we search for the trips? I can search. That didn't do nothing. That didn't do nothing. The weird thing about that picture, it has a Christmas tree in the background. Alright, let's take a look at the bash. There were two, I think. Let's start the first one. No expenses. Something about Beth was in one of the things. I have to put my pin on this to look at this later. No Christmas tree bash. Something here. Raffertunes. I have her. Thomas Green. So, Elizabeth Barrow. We have her, right? We do. Oh, we have her daughter. Okay, Susan Ford. Look for her. And I think we found bits about her, right? Do I have a... Oh, we just have company records. I found stuff about... Oh, in the... What was it called? Alright, we have the Christmas Tree Bash in 1978. We have a Christmas Tree Bash in 1980. We have a Christmas Tree Bash. We don't. So I think that tattoo is going to be a secret. So we got one here. So one of these names is work. Oh, work time temp. I never searched for that. Well, okay. Let's stay focused. Looking at Susan Ford right now. $1980. When did he die? $1982. All right. Susan Ford no longer works in this department. In this department. And it was the Grandorf Dove. Found some stuff about that. I think it's there. Nope. If it makes me have to search for Susie Ford, I'm going to be annoyed. Pickety. None of this stuff, of course. Just looking for more blue. Guy Clark Rafferty. And Chris Rafferty. So I have that implies I have to find Chris Rafferty. I don't have a picture of Edison Sterling. Alright, let's stay on Susan Ford. Read this already. Why are things moving around? Alright, the Roottrees factory in Brazil. Let's search for that. Get as much information as we can. Alright, Roottrees Brazil, sometimes erroneously referred to as Roottrees Brazil with a Z. Okay. Is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative near the beginning of 1979. Unlike some of the other Roottrees Everywhere results, Roottrees Everywhere. I'm going to put this in the Susan Ford because she was an interpreter. Roottrees Brazil seems to be a success. You do some rough translating and find a significant amount of information about it. Brazil was the only region in which caviar-flavored 5-pieces released at the end of 1978 were a hit. The primary reason that the factory still exists to this day is solely to create that flavor, which comes in its own standalone 5-pieces bag with Portuguese writing. A small town named Alvalagos, near the municipality of São Bernardo do Campo, became the location chosen by the Roottrees Candy Company after a newly elected local politician named Edson Soares. Soares, I don't know how to do Portuguese, heard that they were planning a new factory and petitioned them in early 1979. Quick look at the picture. Could he be Brazilian? Yes, he could be. He could be from anywhere. We don't know. The factory was controversial as locals did not want it there. The Roottrees visited Brazil, the Roottrees, around Christmas and managed to break ground on the project. Since then, however, it has been operating relatively smoothly, except for 2 incidents. The first was Fogo de Bordo in 1982. The second was an unsuccessful strike in 1995 that involved all of the factory workers being replaced. The factory was originally built and run, according to the paperwork at the time, by a small company called Novo Corporação de Doces Brazil. Again, I don't know how to do Brazilian. Which literally translates to New Brazil Candy Corporation. I guess I can search for that. This company no longer exists. Not much information has ever existed about it. And the Roottrees now run Roottrees Brazil entirely. Alright, Edson. You're on my list. Edson Soares was a Brazilian politician. You find a dissertation published by a college student as part of their PhD in history. It focuses on the rise of democracy in Brazil. It seems up until 1998, Brazil was run by the military. And the politics during this time were often a hotbed for corruption and nepotism. The paper tells of a few politicians at that time, including Edson Soares. Edson is a former mayor of Alva-Lagos, Brazil. Before politics, he was a manager at an automotive manufacturing plant for a major American car company. He was put in charge of Alva-Lagos by the military government in 1973. As mayor, he used his manufacturing background and knowledge of American business to establish new factories, distribution plants, and other business ventures in the area. And this had two side effects. First, he became quite rich. Second, many locals were forcibly relocated. Uh-oh. This did not make him a popular mayor. In what the paper speculates was a move to counteract this unpopularity, his wife, Sonia, discreetly put in charge of a television station called Telerede. Alright. He often used this connection to ensure supporters would appear on local television spouting his beliefs and emphasizing his political victories. He remained in office until 1988 when he was defeated in the first election after the military government was no longer in control. After this election loss, he quickly left the town behind. It is not known where he has gone, but the dissertation even speculates he likely fled to stay alive. Sonia. Am I doubling all the letters? Not seem to be anyone relevant by the name of Sonia Soares listed anywhere online you can find. However, Spider Search does return a page that lists a news anchor in Brazil named Flavio Soares, who has a mother named Sonia. Well, let's do that then. Flavio Soares is a young Brazilian newscaster with a bit of a cult following. The discourse surrounding him is, to put it in polite terms, lewd. There's a website about him, about something called fan fiction, that has a small section dedicated to him. It seems that women, and some men of a wide variety of ages and writing skill, tend to find him worthy of inclusion in their stories. You skim some of the tales there and learn that a common thread is that he's currently dating a supermodel named Ashley York. I gotta make sure. This is all on the Susan Ford page for some reason. Many stories either seem to ignore her existence or get her out of the picture rather quickly. There are also other more traditional fan sites that list some things about him, including his age, 18, his zodiac sign Libra, his favorite food, grilled steak, and his mother's name Sonia. Also, it seems that Flavio translates to golden-haired. One website with a signed publicity photo of Flavio seems to confirm this. The photo has been added to your evidence. Alright. To Natasha. Kisses from Brazil. Flavio. This is a signed photo? Okay. Sonia. I forgot the name. I've forgotten the name already. Soares. Wait. No. This is the husband. Edson Soares. No. Hudson. Alright. I suspect that's Hudson Soares. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay. She was a news anchor, wasn't she? We have Flavio. Also a news anchor. Okay, how many candidates do I have? 1, 2. Just 2. Alright, so this is my guess. Let's see if we can prove this. Alright, we have some leads. Ashley York, let's do it. Ashley York is a British supermodel who does ads for perfume, clothing, and jewellery. She has been the subject of some controversy in the past few months, having been protested by PETA for wearing fur on the cover of some magazines. She's dating a young Brazilian news anchor named Flavio Soares, which has brought them both somewhat into the limelight. Spell it right? Alright, news time. And Starlet. Silver Screen Magazine. No. Teen Blast. Ashley York, a British model, appeared on the cover of Teen Blast wearing a fur shawl 3 months ago. This appearance doesn't lead to any useful information, but another more recent appearance in text only mentions she's dating Flavio Soares. In it, a Teen Blast reporter asks how they met. I was in Rio for Carnival, and he was on one of the parade floats. I had no idea who he was, but I liked what I saw and told my people to invite him to the party I was going to. I felt pretty stupid once I realized that we were going to his party. Well, his mother's party. She runs a media empire down there called Transmiss. Okay, maybe she's not just an anchor anymore. Let's create a highlight. This is now the Soares' page. Sorry, Susan Ford, I've co-opted your notebook page. Maybe you're related. Transmiss Sao Paulo has come up many times at Business Watch due to their status as one of the wealthiest media companies in South America. There's too many results based on one-off mentions and name drops for anything to be useful. Okay. I doubt this is going to matter much. Take a tea? No. No movies? Well, the magazine's dead, I think. Alright, so Transmiss Sao Paulo, let's copy. It's a massive media group owned and run by a mysterious woman named Sonia Alves. Oh, she's changed her name. Maybe they divorced? They must have, and that's not her. Of course, that wouldn't be her maiden name. Last names, please. Keep forgetting this simple rule. Birth names only. Let's go back. Let's go back. Get the right page sometime. It seems Alves is a common name in Brazil, so she has shortened her name to Nia to stand out in the public's eye. Alright, Nia Alves. According to the history page that's focused on her company and vague, unsearchable details, Nia received a significant inheritance in 1980 and invested it in many different manufacturing businesses in her hometown in Brazil. At the same time, she had just begun to learn the ins and outs of running a television network. She continued to work in television until 1988 when Brazil began its period of reform. She felt this was the perfect opportunity to launch her own media company using her investment and connections. Now her company owns television networks, magazines, newspapers, and advertising firms. Okay. News anchor's not going to cut it. There's media mogul one of the things you can be? It is. Well, there you go. After doing some translating, the page about Nia lists her as unmarried. It does not go into any other relationship history. Searching for Nia online, you've learned that she stays out of the spotlight. She does not even appear at shareholder meetings. She sends a proxy. Alright, I'm going to look for Nia Alves. It's going to give me exactly the same. Yep. Okay. Nia Alves owns many forms of media in Brazil under the umbrella Transmiss Sao Paulo. Business Watch has mentioned her by name a few times. The most relevant appearance seems to be an article about the struggles of American media companies to do business with their foreign counterparts due to a difference in laws. A few media groups and countries are discussed, including those in Africa and the Middle East. Transmiss Sao Paulo in Brazil is also discussed. For example, the example mentions that due to the lack of employee protection laws in Brazil, there have been some clear problems with Transmiss Sao Paulo's leadership that have led to no legal pushback. He is extremely private about her identity and supposedly once used her connections to have a reporter fired from a rival network and blacklisted. The journalist claimed that this was to shut down a story he was doing about her personal life, including her marriage in 1973. That her marriage in 1973 was not of her own choice. His research claimed that she essentially had her husband forced upon her as a child bride at the age of 15. Child brides were not outlawed in Brazil until 1990. What exactly is a child bride, besides just being a child? It also claims that past appearances with her husband have been for show. They do not live together and that she resents her own parents for the arrangement. Alright. The final claim was that she must have made her money under the table through nefarious and possibly illegal means during Brazil's dictatorship, as his research uncovered that she could not possibly have earned enough to start a media company otherwise. After making this statement, the reporter went into hiding for fear of his safety. Huh. Alright. I haven't looked for Edson's sword. Oh, I did, didn't I? No. Is she a chef too? I don't think so. News time. What? Piketty. Portland Telegraph. No. Silver Screen. I think Silver Screen is defunct. Starlight is defunct. Team Blast is defunct. Go back to Butler County Times. No, it was Business Watch. History. There was something else I wanted to search for. What was it? Fogo de Bordo. This one doesn't really like this. Huh. Alright, let's look for these things. Fogo de Bordo translates to maple fire. In 1982, the factory was deliberately attacked in a case of clear arson. The fire was brought under control after destroying about 2/3 of the production floor, and locals claimed that the air smelled like a mix of burning plastic and maple syrup. The factory was rebuilt and continues production to this day. At this time, it was unknown why this happened, but last year a news special did list this incident as well as a few others in the small town as backlash to perceived corruption in the government at the time. According to the report, the mayor of the city was found to be receiving a cut of the factory's profits, of course. I guess just this enough. Who's the woman in the background with the tattoo? I think he went to Australia first. I put her here because she's got there's a picture. Although they did say not everything's going to be used. And she's divorced. So there's one in between. Susie Ford? I thought Susan Ford might be his last one, but maybe he had a continuing affair with her. So this might be Susan Ford as well. Okay. I'll go to Bordeaux. Nova Corporação dos Processed Brazil. Alright, maybe look for the English version. No. Copy. I thought they got the English version. No. That could just be to find her job. You identified this. So who are you? Oh, I see. It was my mouse. Who are you? This could be her as well. A daughter? No, it doesn't seem to fit the family tree. Well, we have another candidate for that picture. Let's look for tattoo. Of course not. Yava's tattoo. I didn't look for Team Blast. How about Flavio? No, same thing. Peter? Alright, of course. Back to the previously undead Roottrees. Are there other diaries? Is this a hint? Oh. Lauren Rootree author was tracked down by a reporter as being in one of the most upscale memory care facilities in Pittsburgh. She was relocated back to Pennsylvania when she began suffering from Alzheimer's. There was a minor backlash towards the reporter that tracked Lauren down because they were caught standing on a ladder and holding their camera over the privacy wall to take a photo of Lauren and her son Clark, Sitting on a bench outside near a small pond on the premises. Well, did we get the picture? What were the names of the books again? It's Court Jester, right? A reporter from what, though? This is old. No. Becatee, no. Portland Delegate, of course not. Business Watch. When revisiting Lauren's book, there is a single passage that focuses on potential affairs in your immediate family. You've added the rest of your evidence. What's the name of her other book? Okay, so I gotta look at all this stuff again. Alright, so this might be Elias's track. So you have to go through each one. I gotta look for Elias, Carl, and Raina again. Featured in campaign posters, so I gotta look at this again. Maybe I'll just go through all the presidents, but let's look at Lauren's first. Entry entitled Cruelty from Lauren Roottrees' diary, written in 1963. It focuses on the relationship between her mother and father. While it offered only redundant information during your previous investigation, it seems the subject of affairs and may be more... It mentions the subject of affairs and may be more useful this time around. I am no stranger to true love. Jacob and I married at an age that most deem unfit for marriage, but he was also enlisting at an age that most deem unfit for war. We had no choice. I knew in my heart that our marriage was one for the ages. He and I would still be together today, if not for Okinawa. That was nearly 20 years ago, but there is an emptiness in my soul. I do not understand my contemporaries. So many girls I went to school with have taken multiple lovers. So many of my girlfriends' husbands have been unfaithful. If I am able to remain true to the ghost of a man with no chance of physical reciprocation, no potential for long conversation, how could it be so hard to love someone you can reach out and touch? Someone you can joke with? I have not had to deal with such madness at home. My parents are a perfect match in the worst way. My mother's cruelty is a perfect fit for my father's general spite. In turn, pop status enables her incessant need to gloat and feel superior. I have grown up with her cruelty and disdain for others my entire life. Even my family remains unspared. They make fun of my grandpop and his family sayings. Oh, blood is thicker than syrup, but nothing's thicker than Elias. Oh, they mimic Grandma Gwyneth's lisp and her kindness as a weakness. Eliath, Eliath, please remember them. What? Oh, my mother's cruelty. Okay. Okay. I know who she's talking about now. Talking about whatever her name was. Sarah Cosell. change that picture, I think. Elias, please remember them. And not even our family's maladies and religion go unmocked. I remember God only put one eye in miracle. But didn't he get his eye back? I can say without a doubt in my mind that my parents have never had eyes for anyone outside their marriage. They're too self-centered to look astray. Alright, I need to find it. And conveniently, I don't remember. What was it? Court Jester? What? Crap. Old one. Romance in the Court. Alright. Lord Court Jester. It's a book by Lauren Roottrees. It is the first and most famous of a series of 3 books often called the Court Jester series. All 3 books of the series are about different romances but told via the same narrator. You can summarize the narrator's profession. The 2 other books were called Return to Court and New Romance in Court. Searching for them online, useful results. The books had some popularity when they were released in the late 60s. Now 30 years later, they are in high demand. Return to Court, New Romance in Court. New Romance in Court. Lauren returns to the Middle Ages with the last chapter in the Court series about the author. Blair mentions that she had been inspiration of her brother Clancy lectures in the Middle Ages. Aw, crap. Where did I find the second name of her diary? I could just go to the other save file and look. Romance in Court. What was her other book called? It had different information, like more books about her. Alright, enough of this. I found it once already. Let's go to the main menu. This is annoying that we have to do it this way. Where is it? Revisiting the diary 10 years later. Okay. Oh. Has it been added to my notes? It has not. It has not been added to my notes. And that was just saying that her parents never had affairs. Oh, right. I gotta find somebody else to... Susan Ford. her. We do have more names to trawl. And I'm so annoyed that I can't find the name of his kids. Or Edison Sterling, Miracle Roottrees. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to here and look at what they recommend. Not this right now. Okay. Well, let's just do all the presidents. Elias Roottrees. Old. Next one was Zach Warden. Same. Then it was Guy Hudson. Lots about him. Then it was Ernie Roottrees. It's up here. Oh no, Ernest Madsen. Junior. An article night is taken over for Roottrees. I read this before. Search. Oh yeah, I remember this. Oh, that didn't yield anything. Alright. Oh, I didn't look for Carl. Watchman of the Year. Roots. How has Root come? Carl Roottrees. Oh, it's been updated. Along with his daughters, as far as you can tell, Carl and Brenda never had any marital issues. You do come across an article about Kristen Valdez, that's new, who claims to have been Carl's high school sweetheart before Brenda. She does not make any claim about having a child with him. She just appeared to be paid to talk about his early life. Most of it is boring. She says that they met when she was sent to a private school near her hometown and broke up when he graduated and moved back to Butler County. Search. Same thing. Yes, this is nothing. This is nothing. Alright, let's fish. Brian Jones. We're going fishing. Alright, so I just found out about her kid. Alright. Stephanie Jones. What was the name of his company? Oh, I forgot. This is so annoying. Okay. Jones Graphic and Print, that's it. Change clip to list a few new clients, although all of them are in and around Butler County. None of them appear to be related to your search. How about Roottrees Motors? Motots, yes, Motots. All your favorite Motots. Alright. This is not leading anywhere. How about Jim Roottrees? Just to start us off. The best of album did get released during Roottrees Mania, and neither of them have performed recently. Oh, was there something called the Roottrees Rift? The couple did do a few signings at a local record store near their estate. As far as you can tell, Jim and Diamond's marriage is still going just fine. Alright, so he's not a lead. Oh, it's missed some stuff. Did I search for Roottrees Mania? Oh, 5Ps. I think I read this. What was it? Roottrees Rift? The 3 press releases from the Roottrees Candy Company after the recent fight was referred to as the Roottrees Rift due to the clear conflicts between them. The first was fairly standard. It stated that there was no president of the Roottrees Company and that the entire family was made aware of the release of the book and that they would be meeting as soon as possible. Only then could they verify the legitimacy of the claims it raised and decide next steps. The second one released was emailed to business newspapers 3 hours later and announced after a vote Ron Roottrees would be taking over temporarily as interim president. Okay, this is where there was a thing about him being in charge and I didn't understand it. It also went on to state that Ron was aware of the book, had verified the claims within, and would be looking into compensating Mrs. Madsen and her family immediately. It also stated that the company lawyers could be taking immediate steps with the family to revisit the Clancy Trust terms to make sure nothing like this would happen again. So Ron was president. It was quickly clear to business reporters and analysts that the time between the 2 press releases would not have been logistically sufficient to gather a majority of the family, even using conference calls. So he just made it up. This was reported on many news channels, and a third, much shorter press release came the next day. It claimed that a draft of the announcement was made prematurely and that Clark Rafferty LaRue, and Ron Roottrees would be taking over his company's first joint presidents. It also stated that any compensation plan would be based on stringent verification process. Wait, they're both doing it? I thought he was the head now. Alright. Forgot that his name is now Clark Rafferty LaRue. Clark Rafferty LaRue is a new president of the Roottrees Corporation. It does not include Root, which appears to have its own new leadership. Well, maybe Root is Ron Roottrees. In early March of 1999, about 5 months ago, it was announced that both Clark Rafferty LaRue and Ron Roottrees would be taking over for what was essentially described as a transitional period in the aftermath of 6 Pieces. About 2 weeks later, the company released a press statement and thanked Ron for his work and announced that Clark was the new permanent president. Okay. Most of the information about Clark you knew already. Many descriptions of him tend to focus on his advertising career and that his mother was Lauren Roottrees. Few seem to touch on his complex and volatile marital history. Since taking over, Clark has tried to remain out of the spotlight, but did have one notable foray into the public eye. He gained a lot of support when his first move was a statement in favor of accepting Sam and her family into the trust. This also served as an announcement that the Clancy Trust would no longer be handled by anyone in the family since due to their financial motivation, none of them could ever be impartial. Root. Oh yeah. The scholarship. Oh, and the Ruby Legal Enterprises. Oh, this Ruby lady. Okay. Ron Roottrees. Ron was announced as president of Roottrees during the Roottrees Rift, but the next press release immediately reversed the announcement, and instead it stated that Ron and Clark would take over. A few weeks later, Ron was dropped from the title entirely. There are hundreds of results about this development, but most articles are retelling of basic details. Some veer into heavy speculation based on an article about Ron at Business Watch. Okay, I gotta go look there. Ron has also done some interviews saying that truth about what went on behind the scenes is not something he wishes to discuss. Instead, he hopes to release a movie about it someday. 3 weeks ago, Ron's mother, Gwyn, died in Paris, France. He and his brother Robbie have seemingly made amends. Released from French prison after serving a few years for assault, his embezzlement and arrest were partially featured in 6 pieces, as Robbie's participation in the Clancy Trust was a key piece of evidence in Sam's favor, and have since become much more publicly infamous. He has not yet returned to the United States, but when journalists reached out to him recently after the death of his mother, he had issued a blanket statement a few days ago. The death of my mother was hard on our family. My brother and I, after spending time together caring for her and mourning, have finally made amends. It was a highly transformative few weeks when it came to our relationship. I'm in recovery from my addiction, and a major aspect of that process is that I wish to stay private. Alright. Roottrees was a somewhat well-known actress and was active in the 1950s. Her biggest role was in the minor hit movie Guys Like Us. She died in Paris, France about 3 weeks ago after leaving Hollywood. She made no effort to stay in the limelight, and most obituaries tend to focus on her largest role, Guys Like Us. Not much is known about her death, except it was announced that she died peacefully in her sleep while being treated for a sudden severe case of pneumonia. Before that, she had apparently been in relatively good health, according to her friends and family in Paris. She was 67. Alright. Ron Roottrees. Business Watch ran an article about 2 months after the Roottrees Rift about what really happened with Roottrees. The article mentions that nobody from Roottrees that they reached out to was willing to go on the record. Instead, the timeline of events has been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and a source on the inside. The only parts that are new to you are also the most vague parts, the ones supposedly confirmed by their anonymous source. The timeline says that the family actually held preliminary vote after Carl Roottrees died, but before the release of 6 pieces, and decided they wanted Ron Roottrees to take over because of his experience running RR Productions, and because he was well known and well respected Roottrees. But Ron seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried that he would gut the Clancy Trust to remove Robbie Roottrees. The family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. They stalled, and Ron became frustrated with the delay. When 6 pieces came out, he saw his chance to force action while the family was in the limelight, and released a press release himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. This caused chaos within the family. They tried to save face by allowing Ron to take over as co-president with Clark, but according to Business Watch's source, Ron was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the Clancy Trust, and they eventually let him go. After that, the role passed solely to Clark, who nobody was excited about but seemed like the safest choice. Alright. Nothing. Is it in here again? Huh. Alright. Oh man, not much progress has been made. We're finding things. Guy Hudson, you got around. So we gotta investigate his other trips. Oh! Back to Guy Hudson. It was Roottrees everywhere, right? Okay, Roottrees Everywhere was an expansion in the late 1970s. It coincided with some other large changes at the company and had mixed success. As far as you can tell, the different companies related to were all formed in a very different and somewhat haphazard ways. There's minimal organized information about the history of the expansion itself online, but you can glean the following. Roottrees candy has been distributed globally to certain markets approved by Elias as early as the 1940s. This includes places like Canada, Mexico, and select countries in Europe, mostly the UK. Roottrees Everywhere involved Roottrees' expansion to other major markets that were assessed to be ready for Roottrees. This started with 4 that it had no share in: Australia, Brazil, China, and France. La France. Is it Gwyn? Each of the countries had an... Wait, that's... Never mind. Each of the countries had an entirely new company formed, mostly by making deals with local distributors and manufacturers. Okay. Here we go. Alright, Susan Ford kind of got the Brazil one, but Roottrees Everywhere. Let's put this in. Alright, let's get the ball rolling. Roottrees is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of Roottrees Everywhere initiative in summer 1979. According to a history website for Roottrees, Charles Martin, who owned a company that manufactured licorice in Australia, was tapped to run the Roottrees factory after he impressed the American leadership of the Roottrees candy company at the time. Roottrees did have some success, but only in certain regions. The manufacturing leg of the company shuttered in 1992 after the death of Martin, and Roottrees now serves as an importer and distributor. Charles Martin was a candy manufacturer in Australia, born in 1923. He had a popular brand of licorice called Martin's Licorice Bullets. Most of the history is unrelated to the Roottrees. However, in 1979, he helped to develop Roottrees. He used his own wealth to build a new factory, and they distributed the maple treats through the same methods he had already been using for his previous candy venture. A website about Australian commerce mentions that he had a very unusual business agreement with the main Roottrees company in the US. Much like how the Clancy Trust distributed the profits from the Roottrees company evenly to the Roottrees family, the profits of the Roottrees would be split 50-50 between the American Roottrees company and Martin himself, for him to do with what he wishes. This made Martin very, very wealthy, and also led to many cost-cutting measures meant to increase profits as much as possible, especially toward the end of Martin's life in the early 1990s. Roottrees candy gained a poor reputation in Australia, and sales suffered immensely. Charles' vast fortune was passed along to his daughter, Robin Martin, who sold both businesses at the first opportunity. Now, Susan Ford said something about guy doing this. Robin Martin is featured in many of the top 100 wealthiest women in the world. There are pictures. She owns a private island off the coast of Australia where she reportedly has her own exclusive retreat. She has no husband. And there was widely circulated rumors somewhere in the mid-70s that she had a medical procedure to ensure she never would have children. You find a joke on a site called Edgy Jokes, and implies she's quite promiscuous and has a punch line involving Robin's eggs. For what it's worth, Martin seemed to lean into the rumors. In the 80s, she once showed up at a charity function with 3 very attractive men wearing a shirt that simply said "Satisfied Partner" on it. Search for this. Nothing. Let's go back. Probably not. Yeah, search for her in the periodicals, but let's go back one more and search for the bullets. Same. Okay. Okay, Charles Martin, Robin Martin. Business Watch mostly focuses on American businesses, but the expansion of Roottrees into Australia did create a bit of a blip in 1978. It mentions that Charles Martin met with the legal leadership teams from the Roottrees in late 1977. They came to agreement and broke new ground on the factory in early 1978. The Roottrees company statement said to come directly from the president was brief and a bit awkward. Roottrees is excited to begin a new adventure down under. We're extremely impressed with Charles Martin and feel like this expansion heralds a new era for Roottrees that will last for years to come. Roottrees is founded on family, and Charles' family has also impressed us, especially his daughter Robin. We know she'll continue to steer the ship just as Elias Roottrees' family continues to do so here in the USA. What? Why? Apparently, Robin Martin sold off her father's assets in 1992, the year after he died, which combined with her inheritance immediately catapulted her to an almost unimaginable level of wealth. The writer at Business Watch, who was assigned to report on this news, seems to have disapproved of this move immensely. While the article does touch on the announcement of who took over the licorice division as well as what was to become of the maple candy factory, the entire text seems to be dripping with contempt that someone would be willing to dismantle and gut such a successful company to earn a quick buck. The article ends with a dig at Robin's personal life and lack of traditional values, but who am I to judge? Maybe she sold it to ensure a better future for her own children. Oh, wait. Where am I going to find pictures of her? No. Check the magazines. Piketty, maybe? Why does any of this would have it? No. This magazine's dead. Starlet is dead. Teen Blast. No, why? Why? So the same thing happened with Mark Clementine. I just dead end. Yeah, I did. This is the same thing. I searched for this. Piketty. Chef signature. Oh! I got a hit on Mark Clementine. Alright, Piketty magazine is a kind of sleazy, so they're not afraid to publish a few details that more reputable news publications normally wouldn't. You look up Billy Sims incident, and it seems they did report on it. You gain a few new bits of information, though it may not be useful. Oh, well, please, I need anything. Billy Sims was once arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail at a company that was found to be testing their products on animals. Alright, let's get to the right page. Oh, here it is. Okay, this fit. Stuart Clementine page. Okay. According to police paperwork, Crocodile Clementine's bail was paid for by Tostarito Jacobson. It was fairly expensive. Piketty interviewed other students that were at the event to find out if anyone knew anything, and the word got around was that Mark showed up because his daughter Mary was graduating that night. Alright. Mary. I guess she's going to college. Fuegos Fiesta, a regional Mexican fast food chain, held the competition in 1993 and that offered free meals for life to anyone that legally changed their name to Tostarito. The Tostarito was a burrito with a cylindrical tostada shell inside the flour tortilla. According to a few different sources, Tostarito Jacobson used to be named Lucinda. Alright. That's all we give me? I don't think this is going to be useful. What is it called? No! No, of course not. No, of course not. Mark Clementine goes dead again. Maybe. Alright. Fishing in the dark for this. What? This usually means it was in the previous game. There's a crime blot article about Edith Jacobson that also mentions Helen Roottrees. Helen Roottrees? And Lucinda Jacobson. Is this Popper? Because I don't think this was in the previous game. In 1971, when she was 18, Edith and her sister, Lucinda, were arrested for trespassing at the Miracle Congregation's church in Butler County. They were pretending to be church employees in an attempt to get into the room where the church houses their weekly tithings. The church didn't press any charges. Excuse me. Alright. They were caught by Helen Roottrees, who was there at the time while her husband Miracle was away preaching. Helen was quoted saying, "Jesus forgives, and so do we. The Lord works in mysterious ways. I am confident He has brought these young women to us for a greater purpose." It's just a random thing from the previous game that I missed. Like to get her name. Because I found her name by process of elimination. Still haven't found him yet. Okay, let's search for Sterling Edison. Yeah, I've been through this. Piketty, maybe? Alright. I'm fishing. I need some fresh eyes. No progress made. See you next time.